Good evening, folks. I'm going to give you a UK weather update. And I'll come back on a little later and do eyes. Or I may add a little bit of eyes now. Or who knows what'll come up after I do this. Yeah, I told you there's something common. You're going to have some snows coming this weekend. Highlands of Scotland is going to get about 8 inches of snow, which is quite a bit. And it's pretty eminent, right? And along the coastlines of Ireland up here, London there, you're scheduled to get some snows, and the wind is it's going to calm down quite a bit up there. It's going to pick up down on the southern coast. It's not a little bit of wind right there, folks. Yeah, you wouldn't want to get caught out in that on a bridge. But inland, it's a lot less. But the gusts are the biggest concern, and some of the gusts are going to be quite high inland, especially as this storm does the turn. And that Venturi effect I keep talking about happens when there's a suction caused by the flow past this passage here. We'll suction up stuff through here, and it's going to make travel across the Irish Sea deadly. And I'm pretty sure almost all ferries will get canceled. So if you got travel, is why I'm pretty much giving you this big warning. If you were planning to take a ferry travel around this time over between the two countries here, you might want to reconsider that and go earlier. This day here would be better, but probably canceled. This is a very dangerous storm that's coming ashore. It's packing a lot of snow with it when it gets here this day here. As you can see here, look at this wind band off the shore. Here is deadly, right? This is near the hurricane strength in the winter time. This is a deadly storm. Now, not to be taken lightly. Okay, so I'm not trying to wind you up. I just want you to understand the deadliness of this situation. And that is hurricane strength winds in the gust category. But it doesn't make it a hurricane. What will make it a hurricane is if I seen anything above 63 miles an hour here, 73, excuse me, is a hurricane. So far I'm just under it. Just under it. Somewhere in this band, that little light purple, if it goes any darker than that, like where I'm right there, you'll have those winds. Very, very dangerous day. Yeah, there's a doldrum for you. You can go walk through the fairy woods. I love Ireland. It was really beautiful. I look forward to seeing it again someday. Yeah, that's an easy hop for me. There's ferries from here, but I'd rather go from the airport. It's quicker. Remember those things, airport? I love flying. I do. I love the feeling of the takeoff and the landing. I love banking and when they drop altitude. Mmm. Ah, coffee. So, right, what are we going to be now? We're going to be vigilant and we're going to be prepared and we're going to make sure we have our supplies. We'll make sure we got our whatever it is you enjoy. Yeah, if you got fire in your house, I recommend making some s'mores. And get you some digestive biscuits, some marshmallows from the store, and some of those Cadbury's. Melt that, toast up that marshmallow, make a sandwich. It melts it all together. Oh my God, it's delicious. Right, here's the sweat as it's coming ashore because I've been watching this. And it is out at sea right now. Right, pretty much nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start you from today. I'll even zoom out a bit so some of you people in the continent are going to get a view of your weather as well at the same time. And I'm going to let this roll a minute. Those of you who ain't used to me covering Europe, I used to cover it all the time. Just run out of time to cover everything. So as you can see, some rather heavy stuff backing up into the Bristol Channel. As the winds come up through here, they're going to hem up, which also is going to hem up the moisture, which then falls down. And the frozen precipitation starts in the north about 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, which is going to make travel rather hazardous for the weekend. And come Friday the 13th, it's going to break out into much larger snows up north. We're going to get a line across here. Usually the line is about Hadrian's Wall. Right, there's an old wall that was built across the Pennines and other areas. It goes across all of England. Yeah, because these people over here fucked with Rome. Yeah, was kept whooping their ass. Eventually drove them off the island. They left this wall behind. But it has an effect on the weather too through some of the gaps in it. And it seems to be a dividing line for a lot of weather. Maybe it always was. And that's why that line was picked, I'm not sure. All I know is, yeah, I use that as a reference as the line of Hadrian's Wall for things. It usually runs from about here. Right about, you see my hand is? York. I love York. It's about over here where my middle finger is. Uh-huh. You see the snow's breaking out there over Preston? Uh-huh. That's going to disrupt train travel because it's a major interchange there in Preston to get things around the corner here. Yeah, things will come up and it's like, they never decided to build a proper bridge to get you straight up north. They make you go all around because the Mersey is very, very wide. There's a bridge on this end here. It's beautiful. Cable stay bridge. Quite a sight. Hey, it looks like Liverpool may get a couple showers. They have snow. Yep. It's going to be a beautiful view from up in Everton Park looking out over the city. Quite a sight. How windy is it going to be for you guys that day? Let's stop this. How is this going to be? Yeah, it's going to be a bit blustery. Here, I'll put you on kilometers an hour. I did that just so some people don't understand kilometers an hour yet. I'm kind of one of them. Not. Yeah, I know what the scales are by now. Look at this off the shore. Hull. The Wash. Norwich. Essex. Where King Canute threw his shit into the while he ran. Another king did too. They dumped bunches of treasure's been dumped down in these swamps. And people keep finding stuff. Mm-hmm. You find stuff. I suggest you just melt it down. Because they'll just take it from you and give you a penance. Like the Staffordshire hoard. I'm going to have to go see that was dug up around here. I think that's important. They fought over it. British Museum wanted it. I've seen some of it's there, but they wanted it in a very special place here where it was dug up. Now, that stuff's here. If I get lucky, I might stumble on a piece. Wouldn't that be something? Find a great big old tensor ring torque to put around my neck. Oh, Robert, where'd you get that? Oneness gave it to me. Uh-huh. You been hungry and walk along and find an apple? Not pick it up and eat it and then go hungry the rest of the day? You're an idiot. You should have picked up the apple and ate it. One is fine. I gave you another one. Right, so come Monday, wind-wise, across the country, if the snow's probably going to be a bit slushy because it's been a bit warm on the ground. How much of it's going to stick coming this day here around London, and I just said around London, you're going to need to reconsider your plans of travel out of the city after this day here. Okay, because a lot of this stuff up here is going to get shut down. And I'll show you why. So I'll put that back on. I'm going to continue to roll the UK forecast. Yeah. I know. You guys look. If you live over here, watch it. Okay. So I'm going to do a little jump forward here. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Now Ireland's getting a good proper smack. Now this is a lot falling at once, and it's rain. Right? But then as it enters that mass of cold air that's already here, she's going to trigger into the slushy nasties and eventually into full-on snow. You'll see. All the temperatures are right for this to be a fairly accurate account of what's going to go on. Fairly accurate. You'll hear me make little adjustments that are in there. See, you're going to have to make adjustments because this is going to disrupt travel along these corridors here. There's only a couple roads up and out. If they have a problem around Watford Gap up there, it's going to back up the road big time. So traffic cams ought to get interested around this day. So bring some sandwiches, because when you get stuck on an interchange out there, you could be stuck in a line for days, and those electric cars are going to get in your way. It gets to a certain temperature, they won't charge. So don't block everybody else that's got a real car, because you're virtue signaling that you love to put a bigger hole in the earth by making batteries than using gasoline. But that's none of my business, it is. -1 in Birmingham. I'm going to be a little bit chilly 3 o'clock in the morning. Right? Like I said, it's going to freeze over. It's going to be very dangerous travel times coming into Wednesday. So that was the storm coming through, and she's going to dump. Right? She's going to dump. And as next week go along, I'll verify the rest of the numbers. But the accumulations were rather high, as you can see, of just what kind of precipitation itself fell during the 10-day period coming. But most of my biggest concern is what's happening as that comes ashore in the fives, right? Because you've been very wet down there, and you don't see the rain actually accumulation picking up, do you? So telling you some of that's frozen. Yeah, so you guys are in for a time. You really are. Some of your snow totals uh, for up around here was rather high, Londonderry. I told you I'd keep an eye out for you. So here is me keeping an eye out for you. 18 centimeters in and along here. So like I said, man, get you a sled runners, get you some beeswax to get them nice and slidey, and have some fun. Don't eat the snow. It's a shame when I think back in time that it was healthier for me to yellow snow back in the days than it is now. I remember tasting the snow on my gloves from making snowballs off the side of the roads when after they plowed them up north, and it was always like an orange, and it tasted a bit odd for what they would plow. Very salty from the grit. You don't see them using grit on the road here. It's almost like they're trying to make the cars wreck. Don't lose your vehicle. Protect it. There's an agenda to take it. Don't give in to the man. Don't lose your car out here on the roads over the next 10 days, because some of the travel around here is going to be rather slickery, and in the type of stuff that makes your car go bang. Don't be an bang. All right, so you get some accumulations on the 5s and on the 10s. Winter Wonderland. Yep. Winter Wonderland. The kids will be going to school. Yeah, they will. They'll shut that down quick. That's a swath. And they never get it right. They ever had a power outage or something to London and it suddenly went cold? This snow's on top of you. But this is crippling for getting in and out of the city. The main road, the M25, is right here. Right? And it comes through all this and up. Most of the main road for the north that people choose to take out goes this direction here and up. Take the A1. Go straight up through Lincoln. This is the old Roman road called the Rampa. It's very straight, but it's got some great whoop-de-doos. People love riding motorcycles on there because there's some stretches along here. Yes, I used to myself. There's a stretches between here and here you want to ride, and they got great dips in them. Yeah, you get around here about near Spittle on the Hill, as it's called. You'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah, this is my stomping grounds, you know. When I lived up here, I have rode my motorcycle all over here. Yeah, I love it. I loved it. I've rode across the Humber Bridge, this great, big, long bridge right here on a moped. You want to talk about getting blown around in the wind? That was a fantastic experience. This road here is deadly when the winds and the storms come. It's actually shallow enough here where you could walk across the river right here. This is a spot that at certain tides you can walk across. And twice a day, Breed's Island out here, the deer will actually swim across to here and they feed out on the island and come back. And seals will come on there because I know I used to work a restaurant right here on the corner over here. Yep, I even named a dish after it. That island right there. Yeah, that was a great place to work. Guy that owned Winteringham Fields bought that place. Done a real nice job with it. Yeah, the other owner I don't think cared much. Anyways, I digress. It's a nice village around here. I'm looking at 36 centimeters of snow here for the cheek of the Pig of Wales. You know, this looks like the snout, the head, so I call that the cheek. So it's right there in the cheek. It's going to make for difficult travel times up through these mountains of Wales. What a beautiful country. I've seen pictures of this part. Never got to drive there. I've done along this way here. Done all that. I haven't done here yet, where my hand is. But I have a feeling I will. I was like home looking for antique stuff. And a lot of snow is going to settle. It is. We got big problems. Today-wise weather. So I've just showed you that, right? So you feel a bit prepared yet? Now look at the beams here. Right from Newry coming out. You see those stripes right here? These are electromagnetic frequency perturbation signatures in the cloud tops. You got a lot of beams overlapping their radar signatures to come up with a composite image. But in between them, you see these little rays, and they will influence the weather. So I'm going to roll this hour here and show you some of the beams. This is probably the last time you'll be able to see the beams on this feed, because last time that a couple of us did this, shut it off. because Limerick is beaming out to sea here, right? EMF from their airport. Whichever airport's here is really putting out a long fan of beam coming all the way here. You won't see what all it's doing because some other stations are overlapping on top of it, which is interfering with you seeing that stripe go through it, but it's actually interfering under that radar. This one's still going on. It doesn't just stop there. It's just there's another image probably from Douglas Island beam showing over the top of that image what's going on. So you'll get no accurate image. You're just going to see many different layers of the atmosphere averaged when they go over the top. So I sure wish they would get a better. We should lobby for a better satellite coverage for the UK so we could look at it, right? Like I can get for Australia and the Western Pacific has fantastic coverage. But you actually get the worst. You're so far north. I don't think they want us to see fully what's going on in the polar regions a lot. Well, I know that because the imagery gets blanked out. But on NASA Worldview, it's a visible radar, so you won't see nothing up here in the wintertime because of the tilt of the planet. They're in actually dark for many months up here. So you'll end up on the edges seeing these weird brown colors because it's twilight almost all the time. Somebody's getting a sun that just goes all the way around the horizon the whole day, sitting in one spot somewhere. That's where you'll end up with colors like this. The perpetual twilight that lasts all day. Must be quite a sight. And you get the aurora on top of it while it's that color. It must be something to see. The chem today is nasty, very nasty. Out here over the ocean. Yesterday was nasty too. It's hard to see when you get a lot of white out. But a lot of times the shadow games of winter really, really highlight the cloud tops. So you'll see those geometric bomb deployments that are so prevalent in the ones I show in Australia. I'm getting a little bit of a peek through the clouds north of Liverpool where you can see the shit stripe, the big brown, boom, 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 booming off the coast of England. Preston, all that. See the zigzags there? A center. Blown out, center with a dot, blown out. Chem bombs suck. They do. A lot of EMF over the country here. Look at the bomb cluster here outside of Nottingham. See it? The cluster just like I show on the Australian ones all the time. That's a chem bomb. That's a chem bomb. And chem bombs suck. A lot of them, as you head more toward the north up there, you really start to see the effect of how far north you go. Just really. Should be some aurora to be seen up here tonight because of the really active sun activity spitting a lot of particles off. So there should be an interesting aurora show for you folks. I want to see where that is. No, hang on, that's not the one. Give me a moment, I'll find it. Might be this one, might show me. Page not found. Yeah, we were showing that too good. They took it down. Good, everything is going on well there. Hang on, it might be here. Geospace, Magnets, Minority Community, Satellites Dashboard. Here, you guys will love this one. Here, let me pop you a link to one that they'll take down next. Right, we got to keep on top of where we can get our data. So here's this one. How do you do when you deal with fools? And this will tell me if I've seen any upticks in the solar wind, right? And this is a pretty good one. Because if they forget to uptick this and tell you you've had a CME, they're lying. And they say we had a big CME the other day. And I didn't see no uptake. I think they're lying. Right? This is sometimes how I bust them. See, they say there's one here, right? But where is it? Where is it? You had a little spike here, or the satellite reported no data. And across all things with no data, the satellite reported no data. Right? That's how you have to look at that. Which would disallow a spike on another data. There's very strong solar winds, so the aurora outlook for tonight, I'll find here. One of my other dashboards that I use. Geomagnetic movies. Yeah, this one's pretty good. You can get some data from this to see how the solar wind's going to interact with the planet, because the sun will influence the weather, and anybody that doesn't look at solar weather is claiming something is unnatural that might be natural. So we have to consider these factors when we look at lots of things. Is this the movie? So I can go down here and see lots of cool stuff. So I can actually see how is the shock wave of space dealt with by this magnetic strips here that you see, these flux lines, and they'll go in and out, and the closer they compress toward the planet, the more we feel the storm, but the stronger the field gets in protecting us. It doesn't mean it's collapsing, it's actually compressed and doing what it's supposed to, and then it pushes back out. Yeah, it does. It's amazing how that works. Magnetics, so fantastic. If we could figure out how the Earth is doing that, we can make a force field around ourselves to protect us from electromagnetic frequency. And in a way, some of these tensor tools that we wear create a field that make the frequency that we have around us go around our bodies in a similar way that the solar wind goes around our planet. Path of least resistance says it goes that way, and this does compress in and out, and I got lots of different data I can look at for when they say there's a strong solar wind. So that always brings a strong aurora down. See how it pulls in and out, wave in and out, in and out. The pulse of the universe, the song of the stars. And if you watch for a while, you'll see the patterns, which is nice. And this is lots of different things, right? This is what we look at. Okay, so yes, we have a big, strong solar wind, which is going to add a lot of protons and electrons and ions into the atmosphere. Go back over here. I want to show you some of the chem this week. Right? It's just so much of it you can't even see here. Right? It's just totaled out. But there's some days was really bad. Like this day here was a bomb day. When you zoom in, you'll see the clusters of bombs they used. Ireland, you were attacked over Dublin. And this isn't just EMF. These are chem bomb deployment over here to the east of Newbridge. And lots of clusters here, like that there, right? It looked like a guy in a wheelchair with a bunch. What's he throwing his popcorn out? Or is he sitting in one of them chairs at the movie that makes you throw your popcorn out? Whoever invented them must have owned the popcorn company. Look at this absolute smear going across the Irish Sea. And they fish in here, and we eat that fish. But if you look through the haze here, you see that flower of death. Chem bomb deployment with other things coming out from its epicenter, which to me is indicative of a chem bomb. Meghan Markle complaining she don't have a big enough castle. Why don't she come stay in my room for a fucking month? Really? So everybody's talking about is like a guy in a chair taking a shit, and there's his pebbles. This isn't all DMF. This one looks like a fine geosculpting move. Oh, look at the fireworks display I paid for. The devil, the devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. It looks like a very demonic thing guarding the island here. It's not very cool. When I look off the coast here, it's just chem bomb, chem bomb, chem bomb. Not all that's the fires from people's houses heating up. Well, some of it will be. These are not. That's like the brass knuckles. You see it? Plump, 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 plump. Brass. You gotta have brass balls to fight this stuff, but man, brass balls today be mighty cold out there. Boom, 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 boom. And then we started getting into that twilight-looking color that you'll get in the far north of Scotland. I've never visited up here. I always wanted to. I want to go to the Isle of Skye just because of that TV show. I want to see that Standing Stones and see if I can go back in time to that place. I'm just gonna fucking stay there. Yeah, knowing what I know now. Ooh, the chem bomb boogeyman mask. There's a big old elfin ears out there. My gosh, just in the middle of nowhere. Let's just have a no chem bomb cloud above the other kind of crap. And look at these streamers out here. Absolute shit. Falling out on the ocean. Boom, 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 plumes over there. Chemtrail, chemtrail, chemtrails. And every one of these chemical catalysts in the sky, if it's listed on the periodic table and it's a chemical and it's leaving a trail of fire or smoke or water, or cloud. It is called a chemtrail, short for chemical trail. Hey, get that in your library, there, your book, your whatever you put it in your vocabulary. You're allowed to use the word chemtrail because it's accurate. A persistent contrail is a lie because this is not a contrail. This is not made by a jet plane. Okay, so this is a chemtrail. This is different than what's left by a jet plane. Okay, I fight chemtrails. And I don't say that they're just done by jet planes. There's many methods proposed, and I'll show you now because I haven't done this for UK. SIGI document 111. Here, they spelled it wrong. SIGI. Paris Agreement, Climate Accords, Governance Documents for you and your enjoyment. For all my peoples in the UK, here you go. I've done your show. So here's this one. While I'm there, I'll get you a worldview. And I'll get you the geomagnetic stuff, and you could just surf all through this and enjoy yourself. Giving you some sources here. Bzzz, getting fried, leprechaun style. The leprechaun's out there. Nicodemus has got the switch. Somebody kisses the Blarney Stone today and gets stuck. Ah, my lips. Be telling no lies for a while. Line them up. Line all the politicians up. It's going to get cold. Right, this document has been prepared to summarize the meetings of the Paris Agreement and governance of it, and how they're going to get away with poisoning our planet. On page 13 of this document, the last sentence, first paragraph, is probably your biggest smoking gun I could ever hand you to prove chemtrails to somebody. Because it talks about chemicals. It talks about deployment and different methods of poisoning our planet in the name of blocking the sunlight that the plants need to live, right? To take away CO2 that the plants need to eat. And while I like that the plants give me some oxygen back and take away my CO2 personally, but you'll see here in this last sentence the potential delivery vehicles for stratospheric sulfur dioxide, and sulfur is a chemical, two oxygens, right? Stealing an oxygen from the atmosphere to make itself, or from a drop of water releasing a hydrogen, right? That includes aircraft, artillery shells, stratospheric balloons, and hoses suspended from towers. And it gives a lot of reference numbers, and you can 65s and stuff. And you can go down here and actually look at what peers said what meetings were held about aerosols, what were held about how to pollute the planet for the climate's sake. For goodness sake, plant the trees back. But it even talks about all sorts of sulfuric acid gases that forming with water vapor. We determined that caused acid rain and defoliated the planet. In the 70s, lots of laws were put in place, which then shredded in the United States during the Trump administration, allowing for higher emissions to go in the atmosphere. You should look that up. That's fact. Energy imbalance indication. One of them talks about, would you like some titanium oxide? See that? Titanium? Isn't that on the periodic table? It's used to make a chemical trail. It's a chemtrail. Trail of smoke, trail of water vapor, whatever you want to call it. We deserve to know exactly what is in our sky, and this is your smoking gun. Okay? And that's how you look at that. And that's how you look at that. And let's take more of a look at this. I have no idea where I am in the world right now. Somewhere in the North Sea. I'm just moving along from chemtrail to chemtrail. From EMF, plasma nucleating up areas of geometrically formed clouds, because they'll explode catalysts to help propagate the waveforms to nucleate the plasmas. It's not all plasma anymore. What matrix or medium is being used for the plasma forming? What is making the plasmoids? The spasmoids are making the plasmoids. You know, some spaz has got the switch. Yeah, I was called a spaz, so I'm allowed to, because I was a nerd, right? Yeah. I'm not talking about somebody with tics. Now look at that there bomb. That's a bomb, man. That's a bomb in your sky. Look, 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 look. Are they bombing Germany? Are they bombing Poland? With chem bombs while they're telling you to complain about somebody else? Are they bombing Warsaw? Is Warsaw being bombed? Absolutely. They're being frayed and chemicalized, burningized, whited out on Warsaw. You can't even see it. You can't even see it anymore. It's so chemicalized, our skies. In the UK, look at the toxins that have been streaming over us for days. I've been feeling sick, nose burning, eyes musing. The mucus hard to even cough out your throat. It feels like it's got glue in it. Or maybe it's a matrix of graphene oxides or carbon nanotubes and stuff that we pick up in the rain. Yes, I said that. And it's not very healthy for you. And as I look at us today, it's an absolute whiteout caused by geoengineering, which must never, ever, ever be ratified. Because by doing that, we signed our name to paying for the killing of our planet, and I will not have my name on that document or that policy. And if you think you don't believe what I'm talking about, I'm going to ask you a question. Hypothetically, if you ask yourself, okay, this is going on, would you want this to go on? Would you want this to fall out on your children? My concerns. Would you want my concerns to be true? I don't. And if you say you do, get the fuck off my planet, you toxin-eating, animal-killing, because you're better than everything else, motherfuckers. Because I feel different about my world. I feel this is all of us, everything. The creatures under here we never even know about. We never take the time to understand ourselves enough to try to understand that we have to have them by our sides just as much as we need each other by our sides. But yet we talk about having each other on our sides, but all we do is divide ourselves into little groups and cliques. So we all can feel different and special amongst ourselves, not realize we're all very special. Australia, I'm going to give you a separate show because I'm going to need a little bit of a break in between. Okay? I just kicked you a biggin. And as I look around the world today, I smile. Feel lucky that I'm allowed to be here at this time to help usher in a better world where these toxins are not going to be allowed, where the chemicals in the sky are not going to be allowed to be sprays that defoliate all the plant life on the world, and that poisonous toxic things won't be spreading into the ocean to kill the fauna there, that kill the fauna on the land. And we will be better people. We will be the friends of the world, or we won't be here anymore. Don't be the cause of the extinction level event. Don't put your name down on the one that said, yes, do this to us. So let's be free. Let's be ourselves. And let's be with the big oneness. Let's say no to the Paris Agreement worldwide that is not yet ratified. Big love. Peace.